Hey guys, so I'm working on my third snail and it's all about the holo and the glitter. Here are some quick links to my socials. And if you've watched my other two tutorials, it pretty much starts out the same way in every video, but check it, I got glue this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fine holo pigment or glitter from Let's Resin and I'm just going to brush it on. I've sped it up so that you don't have to sit here forever, but check out how awesome the color shifting is in this. Like, the rainbow in it is just amazing. I'm not going to be able to get down into the eyes, but I'll show you what I do to fix that later. So now I'm going to go ahead and make my mixture for the actual globe itself. And FYI, this is way too small of a cup. Please get a bigger cup, because when I add this glue, it kind of went everywhere. Because, like I said in my earlier videos, I am clumsy, and sometimes I don't make a whole lot of sense. But now I'm going to go ahead and take Let's Resin's Flakes, and I'm going to add some to the mixture. Does anybody else notice how much product is actually stuck to the clear plastic film on these containers? I'm trying so hard to get it off, but I do add a little bit from the actual container and just mix it in. Now please don't kill me, but my phone decided not to record. Anyway, this is what I used in the globe. I used the diamond dust in purple. This is actually really old packaging. I've had it for a while. And then I used the Chameleon pigment again because it's amazing. And yeah, I haven't found anything better yet. And I also put some of these Chameleon flakes in it again because I really like how it looked in my last snail video. To get the pinkish purple color, I used alcohol ink, which you need to be really careful with because alcohol ink and water doesn't really mix too well and the alcohol ink likes to clump. So what I did was I put very tiny amounts onto a popsicle stick and then introduced it to the water. I actually went back and I added some glitter and a tiny piece of mylar just to see how well the glue actually suspended all of the glitter and the mylar inside the globe. So now I'm just going to pour my clear resin and I'm going to let it just flow down into the shell cavity. And the reason I do this is because directly just pouring into the cavity can create some bubbles. And here we go. I'm just going to add this gorgeous little globe into the shell. And for this video, I decided I was going to try and leave the stem on the ornament. I was curious to know if it would stick out the bottom and if it was really necessary for you to cut it off and then seal it. What I discovered is it does stick out a little bit, so just be very careful if you leave the stem on your ornament. Adding glitters and stuff for the body really wasn't necessary. I just really didn't want to have clear resin. You don't see any of the flakes or the glitters that I add to this resin mixture through the holo when you're looking at the snail from the top. The only way you see this is if you flip it on the bottom, so it's really not a necessary step, but if you feel like making it glittery, go for it. To make sure that the globe was completely submerged with resin, I actually had to fill up this mold a lot. Like, it's barely contained. It actually overflowed a little bit, so I would recommend highly that you please cut the stem off of your ornaments because it just makes it so much easier and it looks so much nicer. And of course, on my third snail, I make a whoopsie, so please when you're demolding this, be careful because you don't want to do what I'm about to do.
No.
I was able to actually wiggle the little eye peg out of the mold, but for some reason the back of it is flat. I don't know if that was due to an air bubble or what, but I am able to patch it back on later and I'll show you how. So for this part, I like to use Taka over and over. What I'm doing is I'm just patching in some spots where the holo kind of didn't stick to the mold. Use it very sparingly because you can definitely tell if you're examining your piece where you have patched in holo. I also am going to cover the eyes because I couldn't even reach that part of the mold when I was adding it in the first place. Now that the Taka is dry, I'm just going to use the brush that actually came with the Let's Resin Holo powder pigment kit, and I'm just going to apply it onto it. Like I said, use it sparingly because you can see little patches. It just doesn't color shift as much as the rest of the holo pigment, but it works pretty well, so just experiment with it. After I applied the hollow pigment to the eye, you can definitely see where the eye snapped off inside the mold, but it's okay, right? Because nothing has to be perfect. It's handmade and it's art, but it's still pretty. Now to seal this, to prevent it from being scuffed or scratched off, I just used epoxy resin. You can use UV resin or you can use like a clear sealer. Now the purpose of this one was to see if the glue actually had an effect on the glitter inside the globe. If anything, I think it may have suspended it a tiny bit. I'm not sure if I just didn't add enough glue. I didn't really have any type of like recipe to follow, so I guess I'll just have to use more glue next time. Overall, I'm happy and it's satisfying to watch all of the glitter float around inside of the shell. The hollow in this turned out so freaking amazing, and it's probably one of my new favorite hollow pigments that I have used. If you haven't already, then please check out my other tutorials so that you can learn how to make these other two snails, which I'm obsessed with. I'm honestly not sure if I even have a favorite, but if you do, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel.